You are listening to an entertainment program put together by a company called Financial Ineptitude. Anything said on this show is not an endorsement or professional advice. Would you really want to tell a court of law you were suing us because you thought taking financial advice from two idiots on a podcast put out by Financial Ineptitude was a good idea? Really? Clown hat, smiley face.
Hello and welcome everyone to another exciting bonus episode of Two Bulls in a China Shop. Come on into the shop, join us. We got a special guest today, Sean from Philadelphia.
Yo.
And we're rip-roaring to go. How you doing, Kyle? How you doing, Sean?
I'm good. Sean?
Doing all right. It's been a weird morning.
We got a great bonus episode for you today. As always, folks, we love it when you reach out. Let us know how we're doing, what you're loving, what you're hating. Maybe you got hot stock tips. Maybe you need hot stock tips. You can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok now. We got Discord. You can email us, twobulls@financialineptitude.com, or maybe give us a phone call, 725-22-BULLS. Just reach out. We love it. And now let's get to that exciting action. Sean.
Yo.
No.
I said yo.
Yo.
Positive yo.
Yo. Cut it. Yeah, Beck loser. Let's introduce you to the China shop here. Tell us, how did you get started in investing? Like, when did you make that move from I'm just working and paying bills to, I want to start putting this money and growing it somewhere?
Well, the important thing to point out at the beginning is that I spent at least 10 years, I haven't counted it up exactly, but at least 10 years on SNAP benefits there in Portland, Oregon, before moving out here to Philadelphia, where I've been bootstrapping it the whole time without, this is a year of big-time government assistance, I'll admit that. I've been leeching on that real good. And that actually really, like many people, kind of kickstarted a little bit of my retail investing, my Bitcoin and my Robinhood. Not enough, because could have made a lot more if I had put more in, but cash is king. You just got to make a balance and decide how much cash do you want on hand, how much do you want in the market, how do you want to do it. And Portland is where I began because my goal was to buy a house in Philadelphia, because I had already lost all the opportunities in Portland, and I just knew it was over for me being on Snap. It was time to move on from that, kind of dreamy anarchist artist lifestyle that I've been mastering for so long. And I'm still all for the anarchism and the arts, but I just can't go broke all the time. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. I know that feeling.
What is SNAP exactly?
Oh, that's food stamps.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So you got it because it was a help, but then it was just kind of what
I think you cut out. But anyway, I think to answer what you were trying to ask is because I reported my actual income all the time, and I always qualified. So that was why. And it got me healthcare. I mean, Oregon was really good. I got healthcare there, took care of all that kind of stuff. That good progressive stuff that Pennsylvania doesn't quite offer. At least it's harder to access. Mm-hmm. But I could use some of that sweet healthcare. But I don't need the food stamps anymore.
What made you want to go back to Philadelphia?
It's funny you put it going back. For me, that is kind of the term, going back east or out west, right? My parents went out west when they were, in their 20s, and I don't keep a secret of this. They met in Scientology out on the West Coast, and that was a thing, whole story about my life that doesn't have to be included in this. But I'll tell you what, that Scientology gives you a weird relationship to money from the get. At the beginning of life, like money, it's all about money, money to go up the bridge. So there's always this focus on money, but my parents didn't have any. They didn't know how to manage money. So I have completely figured out how to learn to manage money on my own. And now I'm helping my dad. I got him to move his annuity investment, which is just a losing investment. You're always losing on it.
Right.
And I said, look, you got to put this into your own portfolio, and you got to get some Bitcoin. And the timing was pretty good on the Bitcoin. So I've done well for him. And I hope to keep giving him good picks. I told him to get QuantumScape.
Nice.
Good timing on that. Fairly good timing. He was late. He doesn't see my emails fast enough, I tell you what.
Is QuantumScape the one that just spiked up real high, then bottomed out again. It ran up over $100 and dropped. It's down in like the 50s now.
Yeah, if I had bought more of it, I would have crushed it with QuantumScape. But I'm new at this. I'm doing pretty well with it, but getting the timing of these things, it takes a lot of attention. But anyway, going back to, we'll come back to that, I'm sure. So going back to the story, West Coast, raised out there, went back east because Portland got too expensive. The whole of California got too expensive. My girlfriend at the time wanted to be closer to family, but I have Pennsylvania heritage. She had New York heritage. We compromised on Philly as a place where we could actually figure we could make a living, buy a house, and do these kinds of things. But our relationship dissolved. I'm stuck here trying to now move into the country. That's my next step, is to sell this house, get into the country. Now,
yeah, me too.
Buying the house, there's 100 ways. Everything's in retrospect, right? When nobody teaches you how to invest, you kick yourself in the ass every time you could have made more money, right? Not that you lost. You're like, I could have made more on that. I was saving for my house in Portland, and I had good rent. We had a good deal. So I was actually able to save at least $250 a month. And for most people, that's fantastic. If you can get $250 a month saved and investing every month, you can get rich. You can straight up just get rich. And it's simple. It's actually pretty simple. But $250 is what you got to, you got to get in that range before you're really doing anything with it. But if I had saved it in Bitcoin throughout that time that I was saving in 2016, I could have quadrupled the money. If I didn't even save it in an IRA, I could have gotten a tax break for that savings period. I was just putting it in a savings account. That's what the really unsophisticated, person does. They just put it in a savings account. That's not investing. It's saving, and you got to start there. But if I had been investing while saving, I could have had the down payment plus a little extra at the end.
Yeah, just sticking in a savings account, then you're just fighting inflation, and you're never going to win that with the savings account interest rate.
Never. Dude, we're lucky we even have positive balances anymore. It's like Europe's on negative balances.
Yeah, that's definitely something I push on the show all the time is don't waste your time with the savings account. It's too easy to get involved in a stable, average fund. Even if you don't want to be risky, you can just go with the S&P 500. Just stick with it. You're going to be okay, and it'll be way more than a savings account.
Yeah, straight up. That year, if I had just put it all like in a S&P ETF, I would have easily probably done 25% plus some dividends.
You make more money.
And the thing is, too, with like TD Ameritrade, they even offer like checking accounts on your portfolio, so like you can use that as your savings account.
If you need it then, they can deliver it.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with Robinhood.
Yep.
It's a debit card.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, no excuse to be in banks anymore.
So
maybe that's why we shouldn't have bet on Bank of America.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are banks technically, but yeah, Bank of America, it's amazing that their stock is, I feel like these traditional banks are going to start struggling. They're not on the chopping block yet, but Cash App and Robinhood, it's amazing the options now. It's just like a revolution over the last 5 years.
Hey, speaking of options, do you play any of those?
I don't mess with that. I don't. It scares me.
Yeah, it's not investing, as we've said. It's just straight up gambling.
It is.
And I got gambling karma in my blood, my family, and I think it's dangerous for me to attempt it. It's every time I just don't do it.
I woke up this morning.
I don't blame you.
And I saw the results of the UFC fight with Conor McGregor. And I turned to Jen and I said, "This is how you know options gets my gambling fix. I didn't put any money on that fight. I didn't even know that fight was happening."
I said the same thing this morning to myself. I was looking at that. I was like, man, I probably would have bet Portier with those kind of odds.
Yeah. Was that McGregor was supposed to win that, right?
Yes, he was.
Oh yeah, I think it was 6-1 the payout for Portier to win by knockout.
And
wow.
Kyle knows me and my gambling enough. I love that kind of setup where you've got the underdog, a big payout, and yeah, I love to bet on that underdog for that big win. I'm like, I'll put $100 on Conor McGregor losing, but I haven't even been looking. I haven't even looking at the fights or the anything. Yeah, I'm just so focused on how's AstraZeneca doing? How did you aftermarket? I got options
and a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I have a few dogs in the fight for long positions. I just don't. And I lost one of my long positions on a stop loss. That was frustrating. But I feel
Which one?
Ford. for it.
Okay.
I feel like I should finish how I got into it, and then we should just be free to talk about
Keep
all
going.
the picks and all the random stuff. So I get to Philadelphia, and I didn't have any education about investing, right? Everything's sitting in a savings account, making 0.2%, right? And I'm just excited I'm going to buy a house because guess what? I got a house for $77,000 and it's already appreciating. And I put sweat equity into it, my blood, sweat, and tears into the actual labor and materials, landlording, all that stuff. So it's worked out fairly well so far. Knock on wood that everything goes well this year. But I get the house, and that's when I start looking at stocks and stuff. And I start with Cash App because Joe Rogan said it was the easiest way to buy and sell Bitcoin.
You have to tell me about Cash App. I don't know about it.
Yeah, I've never.
Everybody
heard of
loves Cash App. I tell you, like everybody wants to pay their rent on Cash App that's lived here. Every single person has preferred Cash App. So it seems to be very popular. A lot of people are using it, and it is getting to be a substantial investment app. But I don't recommend it, except for buying Bitcoin, because at first you would buy it and it was like Robinhood. You don't actually own any Bitcoin. You just own a security value of Bitcoin, and it always is going to be transferred back to $1. That's not what I want. I want to hold the Bitcoin. I want to own the Bitcoin. I want the keys to the kingdom of Bitcoin. So I start with Cash App though, and I'm just kind of flipping it, and it's in the 3,000 to 4,000 range. And I'm just kind of flipping $5-10 back and forth just to kind of get used to it, which has been my whole system this whole time. Just tiny amounts of money to get a feel for the market, and then it shoots up, it doubles, and I'm just kicking myself in the ass because I just sold. I didn't hold. This has been the lesson for over and over, and I'm getting better at it now. You got to hold some. You can flip some and hold some.
Yeah.
So Cash App, and now with Cash App, you can buy stocks, and they introduced the whole fractional idea that you buy fractions of a stock, which is handy. Not my preferred way. I'd rather have a whole share, but
that's what I do on Robinhood with my long terms. I finally sold some land that I had, and I get a monthly check from that because I carried the loan for the guy. And I put it straight into my long-term, group of ETFs, and I can just chop up that into specific dollar amounts, and it makes it really easy. I'm always able to balance it, because of the fractional shares. If I was having to buy whole shares, some of these ETFs, their cost more than the whole check I get. So
yeah, some of these, Berkshire Hathaway is $300,000, so.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a share of that ever. Maybe someday.
You're right.
So I'm doing Cash App just for Bitcoin, and then I start doing Robinhood around the same time. And first, I'm up like 20% with Robinhood, my first $200, and I'm just putting $25-50 at a time into these accounts. And and I'm up like 20%, but then it starts sinking. It starts sinking bad because Bitcoin starts coming back to that $4,000 range, and Aurora Cannabis starts falling. GoPro starts falling. Ford fell. All of my picks fell, and I'm just like, I was down, like way down.
Way down.
I barely started to peak back up in Robinhood just before the pandemic. I started coming back to that profit range I had before, and about 5%. So then, because by then I'd added more, and then I decided, well, I'm buying the dip, so I threw in a few more $100. Once I hit $1,000 principal in Robinhood, I just left it at that, and all I'm trying to do is now flip it over and over and grow it like that, and I'm up 150% at this point.
Hey, that's awesome.
That ain't bad. Yeah.
A big portion of that is Bitcoin, but that's not the best performing thing that I got while I was doing it. And also in the meantime, I've opened an IRA, and I think the thing is I'm just doing CD there, and I'm like, as much as I like credit unions, it's not worth it for me. I think I'm going to have to get like a Fidelity or something and do a second IRA brokerage. So
I have an IRA through Ameritrade.
Yeah.
I've got a Roth with them.
Okay.
And an IRA that I've rolled over from a different company.
It's really easy to set up, and they got an app that works pretty darn good. Yeah,
I think I'm going to do that brokerage IRA and do all my long positions there, and then just use Robinhood to just flip money, make money.
So I'm interested to hear, what are your current long positions?
Okay. Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, I lost Ford, which is supposed to be. I'm just a Ford fan, so also I think that they are going to challenge Tesla quite a lot in the electric car space, along with Volkswagen. So Volkswagen's one of my longs, and that's also because they're investing in QuantumScape. QuantumScape's one of my longs, but I did well. Just flipping that around at first. I got it as Kensington Capital for $28. And because I didn't understand the nature of the corporate merger they were doing, I thought I was just going to get Kensington Capital to have like news about QuantumScape in my feed. But then suddenly Kensington was QuantumScape. And then I started shooting up. It was crazy. I didn't understand how that worked. And I still don't really. Then I sold it when it peaked there, like $48, and then I bought 2 shares when it bottomed out around $30, and then I sold it again when it peaked, and now I've been digging into it, which is a term I use. I don't know if anybody else uses it. I just keep buying as it falls, but fractions.
Yep, right.
And
cost averaging.
Trying to dollar cost average is what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to lower the average. And if it's kind of going up and down and below, then I'll just keep selling it and buying more, selling it, buying more. And then it'll screw up your actual average that it tells you. So I think you got to be careful. If you might actually lose money if you sell at the average cost. So you got to wait till it's well above. It's a risky, weird way to do it.
The reason for that is because when you sell your shares, you can select like which shares you're actually selling. The default's going to be first in, first out.
Right. So
the price for the first shares you paid is what's going to be showing on that first transaction, but it'll lower the rest of your holdings cost average. You can also change that to select like last in, first out. If you wanted to sell, the cheaper shares first and actually show a profit on those and keep the more expensive ones in your holdings still.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons why I keep a trade log now, though, is that I can kind of keep track of that myself rather than trying to go back through and look through the order history or the gains keeper, because sometimes those can get pretty confusing.
Yeah, if you do a whole lot of that, I think you will lose track. So I try not to do too much of it, but it's been a big part of my strategy, especially as GoPro and Aurora were just constantly depreciating and riding volatility. It was the only way I could make use of those those positions.
So you've got Aurora. You say you lost Ford due to a stop loss? So we were talking in Tucson when I was visiting, I was predicting January to be just total anarchy. Not anarchy. No, I like anarchy. More like, to me, conspiratorial, controlled chaos. And we got it, but it didn't destroy the market, which was, I thought, what was supposed to happen.
Oh, yeah, that was so bizarre. People storming the Capitol building and the mark's still going up that day.
It's just a Wednesday. Calm down.
I guess the market knows how to trust the plan, I guess. That's a little QAnon joke. So I thought this was going to be hell. So now so I basically set all my stop losses, and fortunately I could have made more money. James Altucher is one of the people I listen to. He says, don't mess with stop loss. I mean,
really?
He says, don't even mess with stop loss. He said, you game it every way, you will make more money without doing stop loss. And I kind of agree. I think maybe it takes him advanced. He's a really brilliant dude, so I kind of would trust him without stop loss. But me, I think I was overzealous. I put, Ford went down to 850. That was the trigger. And it went right back up to 11. And I was one of the bulls going, it's going to be 11. And I missed it. It broke my heart.
So your stop loss was literally at its low point at the beginning of January, like right after we had seen each other.
Yeah, it was the precise low point.
Yeah, because it's
I've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
Kyle really knows how to sell at the bottom.
Yeah.
So in the beginning with Robinhood, I was doing a lot of like $1 to $5 stocks. And that was like $1 to $10 stocks. And that was, which is still what I do, but I am getting now to where I can actually buy $100 stock. Woo! So some of that was fuel cell and plug. I'm a hydrogen guy. I was one of these dopes who built these little hydrogen fuel cells in around 2009. They were all over YouTube, how to build a little hydrogen fuel cell for your car. I was one of these people. So I was excited to be able to buy some hydrogen stocks for like $2.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. And I sold those happily for 100%.
Yeah.
But I think I would have done like 2,000% on plug when I was...
Plug's at 65.70 right now. Fuel cells at 18.
Dude, I was sold it at $4, I think, is what I sold it at.
Happily sold it at 4. Now it's at 60 something. Wow.
So that's why the have on double principle is now my new mantra. You got to have and have. You got to have it and sell it. So if you want to hold 10 shares in the long run, buy 20. That's it.
Okay.
And you can happily take that 100% and then let it ride.
Right. It pays for itself.
I think that Dan and I had talked about that. Mm-hmm. We talked about that in the past where, like, now I don't sell all my positions out, especially when we're doing options, because of that reason. Like, I watch it, triple the next day and then I'm kicking myself. But if I keep, half my position or a third of it or whatever, at least I still feel like I got some skin in the game and I don't feel so bad when a third of it still makes some money, then I'm still happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can't hold everything. And at the beginning, that was my margins were really tiny. Like, I was dealing with $5. So I need $5 so I can buy 3 shares of this or whatever. Like, it was just constantly to a razor's edge of what I had. And now I have a lot more headroom, but that's because I was predicting. I let my stop losses go and I took some good gains on things like Marathon Patent Group in the blockchain space. Blockchain stocks were really good picks. I was pretty on the money. I thought there was going to be a bigger thing for satellite internet this year. I thought I was definitely right to get into clean energy, which is just because I try not to invest in anything I don't believe in. And so if I'm not going to buy a bunch of oil, I'm not going to buy a bunch of social media stocks. I use social media, but I think it's like garbage. So I don't want to, I don't use Amazon, so I'm not going to buy Amazon stock,
Like and subscribe, guys.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, we all have to use it,
But
man. I'm
trash.
sorry. It's garbage, but it's where we live.
It's our garbage.
That's the best case I've heard for Twitter. We've been doing
Garbage, but it's where we live.
But we need it.
That should be the next president's friggin' make this garbage great again.
His slogan, it's garbage, but it's where we live.
That's our next campaign. Our next president is make this garbage great again, which should be a climate change message. Got to pull that out of the ocean. But so clean energy is something I believe in, and I invested in that. I bought some stuff, and that worked out well. So I've had a lot of really good picks, but I haven't held as long as I should have. QuantumScape is, I think, going to be like Virgin Galactic. I think it's going to be stuck in this range for a while. So it's, good time to buy it, but it's going to be a hold position, I think. Yeah.
I think Virgin Galactic's going to spike as soon as they announce their next test flight.
They have to have a successful flight.
That last time.
It'll go up to $100, I bet.
Yes. When that's going to happen, who knows? But I'm holding some, just waiting for it.
So I think that was one of my stop losses. I might grab, I'm still, I don't know. I guess if we are not going to have a big stock crash this month, which it looks like we aren't, they're going to print and do another stimulus, and then I think we're going to have 2 more years of bullishness, but then we're going to have a big fat correction. This stock market doesn't make any sense. Do you think it makes any sense? No.
Not at all. Yeah, look at Tesla's overvaluation, and it's still going up. It's just bonkers.
Yeah, that was one of my picks I missed out on.
So what scares me about when the next correction happens is what if we're going to lose so many of these retail investors that took the interest during the pandemic. Like if they watch their accounts drop by 25% overnight, are they going to be back when it's coming back up?
I don't really know. One thing we can predict with retail investors like us is that although I follow the Warren Buffett rule, I don't sell at a loss, but most retail investors sell at a loss. And I just refuse to do that. It's kind of I'll let that ride. And boy, did I live a long time with Aurora and GoPro. And now they're doing great compared to where my positions were. But anyway, they will drive that bottom. They'll drive that bottom right down real quick. I think that's what we do, us retailers.
I'm going to say that they'll stick around because, like I said earlier, this has become my gambling fix. That's a lifelong love that you have. And you might hate that you love it, but you're a gambler or you're not.
Yeah.
And I think so many people have because the pandemic had them sitting at home and they all had access to so many different apps. Coinbase, Robinhood, Ameritrade, Fidelity, Webull, and you can just hop on and start trading. And it is fun when you win. There's the same excitement, that big payoff of like, oh, I did so good. I've never let losses, though 20 times in my life I said, I'm never gambling again. I'm never buying options again. I always come back to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta buy those calls, man. I need me some calls.
Well, you have a show to do that with. So it makes sense.
You make a good point too, Dan. You make a good point about the wins. That'll be what brings everyone back, is remembering the good times of this, last 9 months that we've been stuck in the middle of.
Yeah. And I, for one, when the correction comes, am going to be trying to look for that bottom. And I'm going to be looking around my house being like, what can I pawn so I can throw that cash in the market?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? When Tesla deflates, and Tesla will deflate, and now that it's part of so many ETFs and it's part of the S&P, when it deflates, it's going to hurt everybody. But you know what? I'm going to be looking to buy some shares because I don't think the company's going to go away.
Yeah, God, that's hard to predict because their batteries are falling behind from QuantumScape's batteries. And then there's rumors of even better batteries out there than that, the solid states.
Neo Day, the Chinese company Neo just released a press thing where they say their new car is going to have over a 600-mile range on one charge.
There's some fine print to that, though, Dan. If you read the press statement's wording really carefully, it doesn't sound like Neo owns that battery. It sounds like it might be one of their partners. So all these other EVs might actually have access to that technology, too.
Okay.
Huh. Well, if they do, whoever does have, I think it's more about like these electric automakers that are spiking and have these absurd valuations, yet have never produced a car. I think that they're just going to be bought out. I think that's the game here. Like, it's the Silicon Valley style startups. They just want to be bought by Ford or Volkswagen, whoever needs to enter the space and get some special patents.
And then as all these valuations are so high, people are going to start using that as capital, basically, to finance some of these mergers.
Right.
And that's why we're seeing so many of these all-stock transactions, like with AMD acquiring Xilinx. What was the latest one we just saw? Salesforce with Slack.
Mm-hmm.
The great consolidation. This is the era of consolidation. We're watching more and more of these kinds of things happen. The mega corporation.
So you got involved in trading Bitcoin recently? Or when you say when it was back at 3,000, I haven't followed Bitcoin, so I don't know how long ago that was.
Let's see. So that was the beginning of 2019, spring 2019.
Wow. So that was after the really big fall when it fell 85 or 80%.
Yeah.
Because it was over like 12,000 at some point there, wasn't it?
I think it was still sort of the post 2017 high era where it dropped from 20 to 10 to 5 and kind of hung around for years, and then started coming back up with the halving event, which occurred this year. No, that was last year. It happened last year, yeah. But the price doesn't. So Bitcoin, for its supply stabilization, the miners receive half as many Bitcoins per block that they mine,
right?
And therefore the price doubles or more. That's why they believe the peak now is going to be the 100 to 200,000 range, and then it'll slip back probably to the 50 range or something like that, and hang around there, and then come back to 1 million in a few years. That's what they're talking.
Does the price of Bitcoin does it jump whenever those halving events happen, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it like a share split where you just now suddenly have more of a less valuable?
Yeah. No, it becomes where they're getting quite a bit more money for their Bitcoin, the miners. So they're doing great, but it's amazingly hard. Where they're generating the most Bitcoin is where they're literally generating power now, because it's so intensive, and so there's kind of a myth, in my view, that Bitcoin is the greatest carbon footprint in the world right now or something. Because actually where they've had to, to me, where that happens is really the machinery. They got to produce so many computers to do it, and you got to mine the equipment for that. But really they're building the mining operations now right at power stations. So if you have a hydroelectric plant, you're producing X kilowatts, but you're only feeding the grid 50% of X. So you have this leftover amount that can actually just can now be leased out to a Bitcoin miner. And I think some utilities are even doing their own Bitcoin mining.
Probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think it's more common to just lease out this power directly to somebody right there at the hydroelectric or wherever, power is being generated, but there's always a surplus of power. That's just how centralized power production works. There's always a surplus. So now most of the Bitcoin's being mined with surplus and renewable energy, but it is incredibly intensive.
Yeah, I've seen some of those rigs.
When you say that they're mining for Bitcoin on a blockchain, what does that mean to the layman, to somebody that doesn't understand it? Like, oh, if I wanted to get a Bitcoin through mining, what does that mean?
Well, and when I first learned about it, I knew somebody who was mining, and you could just, if you had an extra computer, you could mine Bitcoin in the beginning. There is something now that I could mention called Chia, which is actually enabling somewhat regular people to mine Chia, farm Chia is what they call it. That's not out yet. I would keep an eye on that. I don't know a whole lot about it. So Chia is just a proof of space, and they're using hard disk space to farm Chia. So the blocks are being built out of this similar kind of puzzles through disk space rather than through processing power. And that's about the most I can say. I don't know enough about it. Like, I'm an idiot. Blockchain to me, it's a ledger. It's a ledger. It's a permanent digital ledger. That's, to me, what it is. I think a layman can understand that. It's a ledger.
Yeah.
But it's an extremely technical, complicated ledger, and that most people won't know how to look at it, but it's there, and it's something that's decentralized that everybody can access and see. So that makes it extremely transparent, somewhat private, but you can't really hide your transactions. So it's not the way to do illegal stuff. There's way more illegal activity being done with dollars. So I hate when they dog whistle that to the Fed.
Right.
Dollars have got to be the most number one illegal currency used for crime,
Yeah.
Have you read any of the stories about the rumored double spend of a Bitcoin event?
Oh, wait, what is that?
I think we talked about it in the last episode. I think that was Friday. The story came out, and that sent the price of Bitcoin dropping again. They're claiming that, or they thought they had found an event where a portion of Bitcoin had been spent twice or showed up in two transactions. Now, the story, from what I understand, was proven wrong, but Bitcoin still fell from that event. Does that light up your eyes? Does that look like a prime candidate for a rebound now at this point, or are you waiting for more details to come out?
I think that it's clear to me that the whales, Jameson Lopp, he's he's one of the top kind of experts in the field. He put out a great meme. It was a video, but there was a whale opening its mouth wide, and all these fish were just jumping into it. And he said, this is basically what you're doing if you're selling your Bitcoin right now.
Oh.
So I wouldn't be selling any Bitcoin
right now is what it sounds like.
I think it's the
buying as much as you can.
I think the 30,000 is the current bottom. That's my guess, and that pretty soon it's going to shoot up to 100, and then that's my guess. But who am I? Other people saying 200. Other people saying it's going to die, but I think the people saying that it's going to die are the whales buying it. That's what I think they do. Like Motley Fool tweets, like, these are the pot stocks. No, you're coming in late on these. You know what I mean? Like, there are all these headlines to get you to buy things that are already too late. James Altucher talks about this. By the time anything even IPOs, it's too late. You can crush an IPO, but even then it's too late. It's like, It's never too late, of course, but the idea is that the people who make the most money are on the ground floor.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I've tried to get in on some of those IPOs. It's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah, it can go all kinds of directions. But I kind of expect a hot IPO to soar like Virgin Galactic did, and I did great with that, and I did great with QuantumScape. But then come way down, and pot, most of those IPOs just sank. And so it's probably good. I think we're still in a great territory to buy into pot.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The prospects of legalization in this country have never been higher.
Dude, we're an illegal sandwich. Mexico and Canada, we're an illegal sandwich. It doesn't make any sense. And then the whole left coast is like, whole West Coast. Did I just call it left coast? Oh my God, I'm getting to be an alt-right weirdo. I'm still an anarchist, I tell you, but I listen to too many voices now. I just said left coast. Okay.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, but Arizona too. I mean, it doesn't make sense. We have to legalize here. We got to do it.
Oh,
and then the pot stocks will store.
Yeah.
I bought Cresco Labs back before they merged with Orhoff. That was about the peak before they bottomed out. But when they bottomed out, I went and bought another 1,000 shares when it was really, really low, and it's doing quite well now.
Well, it's
Oh yeah.
that's nice.
Bottoms are buying opportunities. That's what I think.
Most of the time,
When something's falling like that, like you said, yeah. Unless there's a specific reason.
I've yet to see a company actually fold that I put money into.
Oh, I've got a couple of those in my account right now. An old uranium mining company. Yeah, their losses sit there as a stark reminder of why to sometimes not keep buying some things without doing any research.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely just buy things without doing research. But we're talking small amounts.
Yeah.
I'm not a real investor. I'm just kind of a money flipper. So I don't know if there was more to the Bitcoin stuff. I don't know. I think that's crucial that people understand that they don't own any Bitcoin if they're buying it on Robinhood.
Tell me the difference between buying Bitcoin on Robinhood and buying it on, was it Coinbase?
Yeah, Coinbase and other exchanges. And then there's different levels. Today, it's easier than ever to buy Bitcoin. So when I first learned about it, you had to meet some guy on the street or something. You know, it was it was almost impossible. And you can still do that. It's called Bitcoin, or is it called in-person Bitcoin? Or no, forget what it's called. But it's a site where you actually meet people in person to buy Bitcoin. So you buy directly. So there's all kinds of ways, but you have to have a wallet and you have to know how to send and receive from your wallet. If you buy on Robinhood or anything, I think PayPal might be like this when they introduce it. It's hard to say.
I think PayPal does, yeah.
But anywhere where you're buying it from dollars and you sell it for dollars, and that's the only way you can do it, then you really have no ability to spend the Bitcoin. And in the long run, if you want to have a master plan for all possible financial outcomes, then you're going to need both gold, not gold stocks. You need gold in gold. You need to buy some bullion.
Like physical gold.
And then you got to buy some Bitcoin where it's in a wallet. And I have a desktop wallet that I use. I'm not going to try. I think it's good to not tell people what you use. I don't know. You can. I don't know. Some people do. I don't have a lot, so it doesn't even matter. Why make me a target? But I have a desktop wallet, and that's on my computer. But even that's all I need are the keys. I can just download the software, put it on a different computer, and still open that wallet. Get what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bitcoin isn't stored on the laptop, but it's the software enables you to access your wallet, but it's still more private than like a Coinbase where you have to actually present your identity, and prove your identity and everything like that. At least with this desktop wallet, I just have it. So eventually, if you just need the Bitcoin and you can't rely on a third-party exchange and they've folded or whatever, they don't have any, you've lost your Bitcoin through them, then you need something where it's just permanently yours. And then if the whole internet goes down, well, that's worthless. So then you'll need gold. But, and maybe gold is worthless. Maybe the only currency will be gasoline and guns.
Yeah, bullets.
But I hope these things don't come to pass.
No, me too.
Yeah.
I'd be one of the first to die.
Yeah, well, I intend to invest in those things anyway. Get some land and guns.
There you go. Guard your castle.
Anything you're really bullish on right now that you didn't cover already, besides Ford, VW, QuantumScape?
I think that clean energy is just going to keep going. It's not the best time. Everybody's at all-time highs in that area. So it's not necessarily the best. Blockchain stocks are probably still going to keep going. Definitely bullish on Bitcoin. Since I was predicting and preparing for a stock market crash, I'm not bullish. I'm recovering that state of mind. So I'm cautiously re-entering what I sold, and or not what I sold necessarily, but putting the money back into the market. I'm cautiously getting. So that's my state of mind, is cautious, and I feel like I don't know how much higher things are going to go before it stagnates or something.
I'm just going to ride it until it stops, and then I'm going to buy a whole shitload more when it does correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just say keep those margins good, so you always have something to put back in when those days come.
Yep.
My personal finances will be what they are this year. I think the goal is to never spend that money. That's the only tidbit I'd give to other beginners. Like, based on what I've been able to do in less than 2 years, if I did that every single year, I will have $3 million, starting with $1,000. I just have to keep repeating this performance every year, which is about 50% a year. And if I fail that, then I won't get that far with it. But as long as I don't dip back into that, I don't want to go broke again. Just keep some investments going. Going broke to me means you haven't touched the investments yet. That's it. That's my sage advice, I guess.
50%'s pretty lofty expectation.
Yeah, 50% a year is really good.
It is, but Altucher said he did 70% a year, and I've been doing more like 70% a year. So, and that's failing to keep things like plug. I don't know if that was beginner's luck. I think the main thing is to be educated, and there's one where my tinfoil hat comes. I think sometimes, it scared me that my conspiratorial thinking kind of scared me into not keeping my money in. So I lost out on this market growth, but I think that for the most part, it's like knowing just a deeper level, a deeper layer to the reality of what's going on in this world, than what the news says is a good way to get. It's the only like leverage you have. You don't have inside information. We don't have inside information. We're always behind, and so the only way is to have like some kind of insight, I think, into the news stories and where things are going, so that you can be prepared and get your positions when you see it coming.
Well, that's why we look at volume a lot, looking for unexplained volume, because try to find when the insiders are doing their thing and follow along without knowing what the hell's going on. That's one of the few edges that we can get.
Right, just the live data, which I don't track. I'm not good. I don't really have any, skill at analysis or those kinds of tools. Maybe you can share those. I don't know what you do.
Mostly it's just screeners. If you're using Robinhood, Dan can probably tell you a little bit better about what they have, but TD Ameritrade has probably some of the better research tools.
Okay. And that's free included with it, or?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that comes with it. TD Ameritrade finally got rid of all their fees after Robinhood started becoming more popular. So I think they have I don't remember what the minimum balance is for an account. I think it might be as low as $100 now at this point. But yeah, all their research tools come with it.
I got to say, too, the Robinhood Level 2 research stuff that they try and sell you, that comes with the Ameritrade account. Like, you can look and watch in real time the bid-ask spreads as they're happening. You can see where, oh yeah, somebody's bidding for 1,000 lots of the shares at this price, but they're asking for 6,000. They want to sell 6,000 at this price. Anyway, yeah. Ameritrade also has the best news.
Yeah, I would like to know that stuff. Yeah, I need to know that stuff, but I think Robinhood eventually will have to make that free if everybody else is.
You would think so.
Thanks for joining us, Sean. It's been great having you. Great talking to you. We'll have to catch up once your bullish mentality is fully returned and you got a big list of hot stocks for us. We'll have you back on.
All right. Well, I could also be the resident bear or something, but I'm pretty bullish, man. I try to go, to get in, but I guess bullish means you hold for a while. I don't hold too much for a while, but yeah, I like to wreck things too.
Well, you got to jump into our Discord. We spend a lot of time on there now, just sharing news stories and stocks and things that catch our eyes.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting on Discord, so you'll probably see me there.
All right.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to it. It's actually really awesome. It's like Facebook was when it first started, where it was just like a wall of chat with you and your friends, and so they're sticking to that.
Yeah, that's really what we want. That's really what social media is.
Yep.
Right?
Good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Great episode, folks. Thanks for sticking around and listening. We love it when you join us here in the China Shop. As always, like, listen, follow, tell your friends, your enemies, your pets, your neighbors, but don't tell that creepy guy down the street. We don't want him listening to us.
Have you talked to that guy?
Yeah. You talked to that guy?
Have you talked to him?
And we'll catch you on the next episode. Happy trades, everybody.
Peace.
Bye, folks.
Two Bulls in a China Shop is an entertainment program, and all thoughts and opinions expressed in the show belong to the hosts and not of any company. They are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide entertainment about stocks in the financial industry of trading. If you make trades based on what you hear in this show, you assume all risks for those trades.